Have you ever wished you could get paid to shoot and edit videos on your smartphone? Well, stick around because creating business videos on a smartphone is part of my job description. I'm Paddy McCann, and in this KineMaster tutorial, I'm going to share some of my very best tips on how to shoot and edit a business video using your smartphone and KineMaster for iOS and Android. Yes, the kind of video you could even get paid for creating. This is Craig. He's a hard-working guy and he does an amazing job of cleaning windows. Before you ask, this is not my house, but when it comes to selling Craig services, it's the perfect location. Because while it does look a lot like Craig is cleaning windows, what he's actually doing is delivering picture-perfect million-dollar views. When you're entrusted with creating a business video, it's your job to create it for an audience who will most value your client's expertise. People living on Sydney Harbour certainly value their views highly, so they'll value Craig's ability to make their glass disappear. More than that, they'll be great repeat customers. Okay, enough about the why, it's time to look at the how. If you are shooting a video that is 2 minutes long and the average cut is every 4 seconds, you're going to need around 30 individual shots you can edit together into some nice sequences. Sounds easy? Watch me mess up my very first shot with Craig. I start wide as Craig soaps up the window and get my 4 seconds of usable footage. However, when I move in close to change the framing and the angle, Craig bobs down out of the frame before I have time to get my shot. I get him wiping the frame, but I don't have a workable sequence. What I do have, however, is a sense of the action which will form my sequence. Soap up the window, bob down, squeegee the window, bob down, wipe the frame. As I know it all happens faster than I can frame up each shot, how do I get my shots? Simple. I direct Craig to repeat important action. Let's watch. Just do that, lay that soap on again for me, up the top. Perfect. Oh, sorry, lay it up and then, yeah, I'll get you to, where are we?
Go again.
That's it, perfect, I've got it. And now for the edited sequence in KineMaster. I start on the second shot with the soap in tight as Craig begins to bob down. I then match cut to the wide shot you saw me shoot first. Craig finishes with the soap wand, or mop as he calls it, and switches to the squeegee. Now, I match cut the downward stroke to this interior shot, which is both tight and wide, due to the reflection in the courtyard mirror. So as Craig disappears, he's still actually visible as a wide shot from the courtyard mirror, but his hands are not visible. So this allows me to switch to the close-up of Craig wiping down the frame. Let's watch the completed sequence.
I started on the Gold Coast. One of my mates, he had a company up there and he just approached me and said, do I want to give it a go, window cleaning, and that was doing high rises.
Perfect. An empty frame is the frame before action enters the shot and the frame after action has left the shot. If you include empty frames when you're filming, it'll allow you to compress time and keep the pace of your sequence lively and your audience retention high. Let me show you what I mean. Remember this shot of Craig wiping down the window frame? Notice at the start of the shot, the frame is empty of action. Now Craig's hand passes through the frame and I hold until it has disappeared from view. Literally 1/10 of a second later, Craig is already onto his next window and is halfway through soaping it down. This guy's faster than the Flash, yet we do not question it. That is the power of an empty frame. If you film your subject until your frame is empty, you can cut to them doing something completely removed and the audience will happily accept it. The audience will also accept mismatched action if you cut from your subject doing one action to an empty frame and then have a different action enter the frame. You don't believe me? Let's rewind a bit. Here we can clearly see Craig squeegeeing down the window. 1 nanosecond later, we're prepared to accept that he has put his squeegee down, picked up a towel, and is now in the act of wiping down the window. A good way to get natural dialogue is to ask questions that your subjects can answer whilst they're busy with their work. Notice in this next shot how close I am to Craig to ensure I capture strong audio as he speaks.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window cleaner in your local area. I've been doing it for 12 years now. Should I say that again?
Start again. Most people find talking directly to camera quite intimidating and generally need a few takes to deliver their message. With KineMaster, it's easy to pull out the best dialogue from different takes and use that with or without the corresponding video. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to add my primary dialogue clip onto the end of my project. Click Media, add the clip we want, and now if we select the clip, I can click on Trim Split, then Extract Audio. Auto volume normalizes the sound of our clip. If we do this before we cut it up, we can just click once and avoid having to click each individual clip later and normalize it separately. A big time saver. Zoom in a little. Notice these green bumps and dips on the audio track?
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window.
These are a visual representation of Craig's voice. They will help us identify and cut out the dialogue we want to use and delete anything we do not want. Click the track here where Craig begins to talk. Select the track, click Trim Split. I want to trim to the left of the playhead, but before I do, notice there are hotkeys around the edge of the timeline. Here, here, and here, which mirror these three options here. Click Trim to the left of the playhead and everything left of the playhead is deleted. Now I'll continue to review my footage and trim off the bits I don't want. To move one of these audio clips into place, long press it and drag it along the timeline into the position you like.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window cleaner in your local area.
Perfect. Let's apply a fade to each of these segments so they're less abrupt. Place the playhead at the beginning of the dialogue and select the track. Select the volume envelope and press this icon to add a control point here and here. Use this arrow to navigate back to the first control point. Now set the volume slider to 0 for a nice fade in.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window cleaner in your local area.
Let's repeat that to fade this dialogue out. Select the clip, select volume envelope, add 2 control points, fade the end control point to 0.
Yeah.
Much better. I have extracted the dialogue from my audio clip, but there are some dialogue sections where I've decided to use the video as well. No problem. Even though we have a separate audio track, the original audio remains connected to the video in KineMaster. Select the track. Click on the mixer icon and press the speaker to unmute the track. Click the auto level button we clicked before. Now I can cut out the parts I want the same as we did with the audio track. Zoom in nice and close by pinching out. I find it helpful to click this marker symbol and add markers to my clip which help me identify where I want to make my cuts. Once I'm sure I'm cutting the dialogue in the exact right place, I use the hotkeys to make my cuts. Here I have cut part of take 1 with part of take 2 To make it seamless, I cover the first part with this cutaway of the harbour. And now let's listen.
If you'd like to get your windows clean, if they're looking a bit shabby, just get in touch by sending me a message.
I really like that. You know you have edited your footage well if it's watchable without music. But adding the right music can make a good edit great. I like to match my cuts to the tempo and rhythm of the music, which then motivates the edits and keeps everything flowing. Before you make any adjustments, play back your footage and click the marker symbol and add markers on the beats of the music. Navigate between markers with these icons here and here. Now you can easily adjust the ends of each clip to place the cut on a natural beat within the music. Now I've tweaked those edit points, let's play it back.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window cleaner in your local area.
Sweet! We're almost there. The last thing to do once you are happy with your edit is to set control points all along your music track and then drop or duck the music wherever there is dialogue. As the video plays back through your control points, the music lowers to allow your dialogue to really shine. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you can see how, armed with just an iOS or Android device and KineMaster, you can create some compelling videos to attract customers for all kinds of businesses. Be sure to check out the other great videos here on the KineMaster channel. I'm Paddy McCann. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm a window cleaner in your local area. Wouldn't give it up for quids. Just the satisfaction of just being able to see out of the window and having it clear and shiny, and the customer also happy as well, which is nice. I always like a happy customer. So many jobs I do where people haven't got that one window cleaned or something because the person couldn't reach it or too scared to get to it or something, I'm not sure, but I usually can get to it. I started on the Gold Coast. One of my mates, he had a company up there and he just approached me and said, do I want to give it a go, window cleaning? And that was doing high rises at the time. And I'm like, yeah, I was a young fella, man. So I did it and I haven't stopped doing it. I've been doing it for 12 years. I really enjoy it. I get a lot of people ringing me when their windows are pretty much black, but it's a good job. I enjoy being outside. A lot of nice customers as well. I enjoy talking to them. Shouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes for both sides. And then you just wipe the frames out. Depends how dirty the frames are. A lot of people like to get their tracks cleaned out. That's another thing that we can do extra. Gives me satisfaction. My name's Craig. If you'd like to get your windows clean, if they're looking a bit shabby, just get in touch by sending me a message or give me a call.